What's up, you guys? If you're interested in how I got this giant Rider Waite deck from this to this, stay tuned. What is up, you guys? This is Joey, and I just got the giant Rider Waite deck. It's a pretty cool, oversized Rider Waite deck. I've been wanting this deck for a while now, and now that I have it, I see that it's pretty awesome. But the one thing I have about this is that it's so huge, right? It's so huge, and I'm like, yo, how am I gonna really shuffle this? How am I gonna really work with it? And I came up with an idea. The other day I took a standard Rider Waite deck. I went ahead and modified this deck, made it borderless, and it kind of like brought it back to life. You know, it's still old, right? But it gave some new life to it, and I liked how it looked, you know, and I know that I'm not gonna be able to shuffle, you know, the giant deck like how I'm shuffling right now. This is how I normally shuffle because I like taking jumpers, you know, and the most I'll be able to do from this deck is probably like, you know, just shuffle it like this sideways and then like pull from it maybe like this. That's another option, but I'm gonna show you guys how I modified this deck. Today I'm going to be using a scrapbook cutter. So this cutter right here is used for thicker material than, you know, regular size papers. We are also going to be using a corner rounder. So on this cutter is two sizes. There's 1/4 inch and then there's 1/2 inch. All right, so today we're going to be using the 1/4 inch to get the kind of look that I want. So I decided to take the insert card and, you know, just do a little test run on it before I completely damage this beautiful deck. So let's go ahead and do a test run on the insert card. Okay, so right now, as you guys see, I am going inside the outline, the black outline of the card, and just cutting along the edges and make sure that everything is straight. You may have to go over the lines a few times, but this is the part where you want to be very, very careful, because you might make a chop and it might be like in the wrong place. You know what I'm saying? It may be a little too far up, so you want to be very, very careful to have everything lined up when you're doing this step. Okay, like I said, you may have to go over it again a few times to make sure that everything is lined up properly. We're gonna go ahead and cut the corners and see how it worked out. Okay, so far so good. It's looking good to me. So let's go ahead and get started, you guys. Keep in mind, you guys, when you are hand cutting cards, they're not going to be uniform. They're not going to be perfectly sized the same size. You know, some cards may be a little shorter than the other ones, but that's okay. I mean, it just adds to the whole aesthetic of the deck. So I got to trim 78 cards and then around the corners of 78 cards. All right, so let's get started, you guys. The first one now is going to be the Knight of Swords. Let's go ahead and get this bad baby lined up. And the good thing about this guillotine that I'm using is that it has rulers. You know, it has rulers on the bottom and the top, so I can easily line the images up. And keep in mind that you may mess up here and there. That's okay, as long as you have, you know, a general shape that's pretty consistent, then you'll be okay. I noticed at the end when I finished this, some of the cards were a tiny bit shorter than the other ones, but that's a given when you are hand cutting cards. You know what I'm saying? If you've ever made your own deck at home and cut the cards out using a paper guillotine, you will know that some of the cards will be a little slightly smaller or bigger than the other cards. I mean, that's okay. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep cutting these cards. What I'm doing is I'm lining up the edges and I'm going right inside the black outline of the cards. Okay, and keep in mind, like I said, you want to make sure that you have it lined up properly to where you're not cutting off the lettering on the bottom or the numbers on the top. I noticed that some of the numbers on the top, I got really, really close to the edges, but that's okay. I mean, we know what the cards are. I know what they are. That's not going to be an issue, you know, while I'm using them or whatnot. All right, you guys, we've made it to the end. These are all our clippings from 78 cards in total. It's going to clean this workspace off, and then we're going to move on to the next step, which is corner rounding. Yay, we're almost done, and we're going to see how this deck turned out. So let's get started with cutting the corners, and this is pretty simple. Make sure that you guys get the card, each corner perfectly in the cutter so that you don't mess any of the corners up. And make sure, you guys, I've done this a few times with different decks, make sure that if you're using one that has different sizes on it, make sure it's on the right size. Today, like I said, we're using 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and this is the most satisfying part, because it's like you don't have to be too careful. The only amount of care that you need to take is that you make sure that you line it up inside the cutter properly, so that it's not on the outside of the guards that you're using, because it could like make a little indentation in the card. I did it on one of the cards, but you can't really tell. It's all good. All right, and we are done. We got finished product here. So let's go ahead and see how these bad babies look. Look at that, you guys. I love how this look. I love how these cards turned out. Like I said, they're hand cut, so they're not perfect, but they're perfect enough for me. Okay, and I liked how they came out. They came out pretty awesome to me, don't you think? And this is a giant borderless Rider-Waite deck. How awesome, right? Because I don't think they sell giant borderless. Like I said, you guys, if you see on here, you can see that it came close to the edge on a couple of the letters, but like I said, it's okay. For me, it's okay. I know what it is. It's art. At the end of the day, we're rolling with it. It's functional. It works for me, and these cards came out pretty beautiful to me, if you ask me. They look bomb, and I love it. Now let's try shuffling these babies and see how that goes. Okay, we got that side shuffle. I don't know what kind of shuffle that's called, but hey, I can do that without any issues with this deck. And you can see, like I'm trying to show you here, you can see where it's not level perfectly leveled, but it's doable, you know, it's operable, you know, no issues. You'll still be able to use the cards. They still look good, all that good stuff. Okay, and they shuffle pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and try to do my usual shuffle when I take the jumpers and see how that works out. So far it's working. I will say that I got pretty big hands, so it's like my fingers are pretty long too, so my hands were really stretched out, kind of like all the way, you know. It might take a little getting used to, you know what I'm saying, for me, because I'm not used to stretching them out that far to shuffle cards. But overall, I was able to shuffle them that way, and I can do them, lay them out as well, and pick them that way as well. I thought that was pretty like accurate for me as well, and it's pretty cool to do it that way. But let's see how these cards turn out, you guys. See how they looking? These cards is busting right now. They popping. See how that? The lovers, baby. They looking good to me. And there you go, your borderless giant Rider-Waite deck modified at the crib. Let's take another look at these cards. They're looking fresh to me. I love them. What you guys think? What do you guys think? How do you guys think about this modified deck? You can do this with any deck practically, you know, that has edges on them, or like it has a border around them. You can do this with any deck like that. Like I said, I did it on the standard deck as well before doing it on this giant deck, and it came out pretty good. I don't know about y'all, but I love it. I like it, you know. So look out for this deck in a video coming soon, baby. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys ever tried this tip, this deck modifying tip, let me know how that comes out for you guys. And happy modifying and DIYing. Okay, take care, you guys. Ciao.